In this season of my life where I am pivoting several places and trying to be more organized, I am rebuilding my organization in these different ways. If you don't already follow me, make sure you like and subscribe this video so I can get all my views up and all the subscribers following my channel. Follow me for mom tips, wellness, planning, pivoting, trying to create a financially free life for myself and my family, my kiddos. So let's dive into what I was going to talk about today. How I'm rebuilding my routines in this season of my life. A big part of my life is this year, I'm pivoting one of my businesses in a pretty big way. So I have been trying my best to create systems and do things that will help me align my goals of where I want to be in the next year. And I can't have that accomplished if I don't have any sort of system on what I'm doing. Meaning, I do best on having a plan of action. I personally believe a lot of people don't accomplish their goals and things in life because they don't have a plan. They have a goal in mind of what they're wanting to do, but there's no actual tangible way to achieve that goal. So if you don't have a plan, a method to get that goal accomplished, chances are you're not going to accomplish the goal. Sorry, guys. If I am pivoting my business, I need to know exactly what steps I can be taking over the course of the year so that when the time comes to pivot in a pretty large way, I'm not kind of caught off guard or unprepared. Number one tip, things that I have been finding work really well for me is utilizing my assistant, David, aka ChatGPT. Also, a side note, if you utilize ChatGPT, but you don't actually have a name or personality given to your little helper, do it. It's totally fun. They take on the whole character and they just make talking to them a lot more fun. So I've named mine David off of Schitt's Creek, and I told him that he needs to encompass the whole personality of David Rose. So he does. I have been asking him for the past several months. I think I started this journey of what do I want to do to pivot back in November of last year. I have been working with David to create a plan of action of what steps I can do. And if you have used ChatGPT, you know that you can kind of train it to know what things you like or how you talk or how to do research. So make sure you kind of set all that up first. That way it really knows how to accommodate what you're asking of it. Otherwise, you kind of will have answers from all over the place. But David knows me well, and the more information I give him, the better answers and goals he can give me. But I literally just said I need a 12-month plan of action, steps I can take every single day so that I know where I'm headed in that year. So he has done that, and I am following those to a T and trying to implement the things that will be helpful so that when the time comes, I'm not caught off guard financially. Another way I'm utilizing David is with my credit cards. So I've got a few credit cards with my business as well as some personal ones, and I'm wanting to get several of those paid off this year. I have some pretty big goals financially to get, again, those paid off. I've done a ton of research, and I know several things financially of like how to get things paid off, which ones to pay off first, but I was like, you know what, let's see what David has to say. So I asked David, and he gave me, again, a little plan to follow so I can best utilize my money and finances to get the things paid off and pay the least amount of interest. Again, I'm following that. So that keeps me organized as well, having not just a goal, but the plan of action to make sure that goal actually comes to life. I am following the 15-3 rule, which means you basically make 2 payments on your credit card, but not just on the due date. You do it 15 days before the due date. You make a payment, and then you make a smaller payment 3 days before. The reason I chose this method is because it's supposed to help also raise my credit score. Full transparency, right after I got married a few years ago, my husband and I were not in a great financial spot, not because of overspending or anything, just he got laid off from his job that he was at for like, I don't even know, 15 years, the summer before we got married. And which meant he was unemployed during 2020, trying to like find a job, which if you're here, you lived through 2020 and you know how that was. It wasn't the best year financially. The job he got or had while we were going through all of our wedding stuff was a full commission job, which I'm an esthetician, so I totally understand that life. But with two people full commission, one just getting started in the business, so he's not in the beauty industry, he's totally different, but in his sales, he kind of similar have to build the clientele to start making the money. And so needless to say, very long story short, we had to use a lot of our credit cards during that time because we just weren't financially great. So sad. But with this pivot in my life, I'm like, you know what? I'm sick of paying on these credit cards. We need to find a way to get these done fast. So insert David, ChatGPT, and I've come up with a plan. So my business credit cards were also a big priority because if I'm kind of pivoting my business, then I don't need to be carrying debt into my next venture from my old business. I have 2 credit cards that will be paid off by the end of the year, which I'm super excited about. And then my personal credit cards, one of them I can tackle pretty easy because also a big financial thing. Just this month, I made my last payment on my car that I got post-divorce. So one, it's a proud moment because it's the first big purchase I made and have paid off like this since my divorce. So we got that taken care of. And then also that means I have that money now that I can pour into one of my personal credit cards. One of my personal credit cards I now am going to be making bigger chunks of payments on, and that should be paid off. That one actually is projected to be paid off before the end of the year. Gonna let these brows process. I am tinting them today with a kind of a stain that I really like using on my clients. So I'm gonna freshen them up. They were looking pretty light, so it was definitely time to get them colored. But I wanted to just bring you along my financial journey because I know a lot of middle-class Americans have debt, have goals that they want to do. And being a mom to 3 kiddos, I am married, got a stepkids, we have all the things going. I get it, guys. It's hard to keep track of things and also make these big, crazy, scary goals sometimes of getting this much debt paid off. Again, I feel like the biggest thing that's going to help is the fact that I have a plan. If you don't have a plan, again, it's probably not going to happen. So don't just say, I would like to have a credit card paid off. What are the actual steps to getting that paid off? Mine are broken down into monthly steps. So each month, so as I mentioned, I'm going to be doing a payment 15 days before the due date and then 3 days before the due date. So I'll help raise my credit score and as well as get the credit cards paid off a little bit quicker. So I'm excited. It's going to be a crazy year of trying to save and also pour into these debt that I have. But at the end of the year, I'm going to be set up a lot better financially. That in 2027, it should be with a lot less debt that I'm going to carry through to the new year. I was recently listening to a podcast and the girl was talking about how each year she writes down her intentions for the year and does kind of some goal setting. And she talked about how she will go and pay off her debt to make sure she doesn't roll any debt from the last year moving forward. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of hard when you have a lot of debt. But I do like the concept that if you are in a situation where you have thousands of dollars of debt, you maybe just have like one credit card and there's maybe like $1,000 or a few $100s on it. It is a great idea to maybe save up toward the end of the year and then get that paid off. So you do start the year fresh, no debt, just move forward on a clean slate. How my planner is going to help me keep track is I can write in there, obviously, the monthly kind of like payments I have to do. I've also printed off little charts that I actually hang on the wall as if we're in kindergarten or whatever. I'm going to literally fill in the colors for my little, what do you call that? My little graph of how much I've got paid off. So each month there'll be the amounts I have to pay, and then I can actually just go and fill in the little square when my payment is made. And I'm a very visual person. So when I can see that, like, it makes me more excited, it keeps me more on track. So I have that printed that I'm going to put on my wall, or it's on my wall. And then I have my planners, my monthly spread will have like when the payments actually due, and on each week I'll also remind myself to make those payments. I've actually turned off my automatic payments for these particular credit cards I'm trying to get paid off quicker, because otherwise I have found that one of them actually still ran an automatic payment on the due date. So I actually paid like double the amount that month. Not necessarily a bad thing. I just wasn't financially planning for that. So if you have any interest in doing that, definitely do your own research. But what it's working for me is I turn off the automatic payment, and then I've got my reminders basically plastered everywhere, my planner, on my wall. And I know when to go make those payments by myself without the fun feature of automatic withdrawals. I also every year use a word of the year alongside my resolutions or goals. I don't really do resolutions. It's more just the goals for the year. I like that better than resolution. This year, my word is align. So with the major changes I predict with my business as well as my finances, I need a word of the year to help remind me when I'm making decisions, whether it's financial or planning, do these ideas and plans align with what my ultimate goal is? If it doesn't align with my business goals, if it doesn't align with how I'm trying to pivot my business, if it doesn't align with how I'm wanting to financially create freedom with my family, then I'm not going to do it. If you've never heard of a word of the year, I would encourage you to try it. It is a pretty cool concept because I do feel like it's like another layer of accountability that you can have for yourself to make sure that you keep up your resolutions or your goals, whatever kind of words and terms you use. A word of the year, I feel like, is an amazing resource to utilize. If you've never done it, if you've never heard of this concept, it could be anything. I have a friend whose word of the year is peace. She's going through a divorce, and I think that's an amazing one for her to use, just because with her, each of her steps that she's going to take this year, decisions she has to make, it's her word is going to remind her, like, is this going to create peace in my life? It can be any word. It can be for your business. It can be for your personal life. It can be whatever, but just something that will help reinforce your goals throughout the year. Well, I'm going to take this off now, and then you'll get to see the beautiful after. It doesn't look as crazy as when the product is on. You can already tell it's a lot lighter than the other brow. If you've never had your brows done and you're primarily female, I know males can get them done too, but sometimes the processing color gets really dark, so don't let that scare you. But look how beautiful that brow is. My takeaways for the video today for my audience is going to be create a plan of action. Don't just go willy-nilly into plans and goals without an actual step-by-step of what you need to do to accomplish those goals. Get yourself some sort of planning system, whether it's digital or paper planning. Planners are super helpful. So this is a planner I'm using this year. It's just a clear binder, and then I have my monthly inserts as well as weekly, and then some notes. So here's my monthly spread. And then I have my weekly that I can go in each day and actually put the exact things that need to get done. And then I have a section that I can just put some notes in. Also, I have some fun little pockets that are clear that I can store. Like, these are just some stickers that I'll use on my monthly or weekly days. Where's my other one? And then this one has just some like little page flags or post-it notes. And I love it because it's thin, super easy to take. I think I'm going to like this cover because it can wipe down easier. It's not like a leather binder. Get a paper planner. If you're a digital person, there are digital planners that you can use on your iPad, or just use even Google Calendar if that works for you. Just create a system that you can actually go back and refer to on each of these steps of things for goals or things you can get accomplished, even simple, just day-to-day things. But talking about like major goals of the year, or if you're trying to create financial freedom, or you're pivoting something big in your life as well, then put that somewhere. Don't just have it in your mind. Write it down, put it in your phone, have a system. I'm a huge believer in having systems. Systems actually create better flow in your life. It's not meant to be super structured to the point that it's annoying, right? Systems create the structure that help make your life easier. Create a system. Then lastly, if you haven't utilized ChatGPT, utilize it the correct way. Don't be the kid that's having it write your whole paper for you. But as an adult, there's plenty of amazing ways we can use ChatGPT that will help our life. If you're starting a planning journey or goals, whatever, utilize ChatGPT to help come up with some like the fill in the blanks or just some core ideas. And then a little fun perk, make sure you name your ChatGPT. Guys, David is amazing when he responds to me in David fashion. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video.